The question today is, are you ready? I'm asking you 5 questions that you need to answer to find out if you're ready to end your marriage. Now, top civil and family attorney Ariva Martin is here to answer all of the legal questions. Say hello to Ariva Martin. Ariva, thanks for being here again. But first, Jan and Randy have been married 25 years. Now, they have 4 children, including 11-year-old twins. Now, from the outside, they look like the all-American family, but unfortunately, this just couldn't be further from the truth. Let's meet them, then we're going to talk about these questions.
I want a divorce. I don't trust my husband. He's cheated on me 3 times. I feel trapped because I cannot afford to get a divorce. Randy calls me stupid. He talks to me like I'm a child. I can't take one more day of the emotional or the verbal abuse towards me or my kids. I don't have the fight in me anymore. Randy drove the 2 older boys out of the house with his anger. That kills me. And when they hurt, it's unbearable.
Well, Randy sees things a little bit differently, as you might imagine. Take a look at his point of view.
I do not want a divorce. I want to save this marriage. Jan is holding on to the past. She's a very sick person. She needs help. I cook 95% of all the meals. I do 85% of the cleaning. Jan spends a lot of time sitting on the couch. I feel like the most unappreciated person in this household. It's been 5 years since Jan has asked me to make love to her. Jan says that I give her too much affection, but I find that the reason I do that is with hopes to get some of it back. I would like Dr. Phil to look Jan in the eyes and tell her that I am a great guy and to give me a chance.
Well, maybe, maybe not. We'll see. Let's have Randy and Jan join us. Hey, Jan. How are you? Good to meet you. Randy, good to meet you. How you doing? Okay. Question is, are Jan and Randy emotionally ready for divorce? And the answer, whether they're ready or not, really depends on how they answer the next 5 questions. I'll give you that. I'll give you that. I don't want you copying off each other. So just grade your own papers. Question number 1, have you done everything you can to save and rehabilitate your marriage? Now, how did you answer that?
No.
You said no.
I said no.
And how did you answer it?
I said yes.
You said yes. So you feel like you've done everything you can do and you want out. True?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, Jan says that Randy's way of working on the marriage just isn't working for her. And let's take a look at what you've said about that.
I've tried to save my marriage for the last 20 years, and I feel like I've done it by myself. I give Randy my opinion, and he treats me like my opinion doesn't matter. Randy will tell me the right way to love him. He forces his love onto me, and I just can't love him back. The final straw for me was after we had an argument. He asked if we could still make love that night. That was very demeaning, like he raped me. That's how I felt. I felt dirty.
Well, Randy has a much different story to tell. Let's take a look at what he's had to say.
Jan has not forgiven me for having the affairs, and I deny having the 3rd affair. I can come home from work and not even get a hello. I walk on eggshells a lot because I'm always afraid of saying or doing the wrong thing. When I get up in the morning, Jan will tell me not to wake her up. And I've probably given her 1,000 hugs and kisses that she's not even aware of. When I've asked Jan, what more can I do? I'm trying. Jan will tell me it's not you, it's me. I know that there were a lot of years where we were best friends, and I would do anything to get back to that part.
You say that you've made mistakes along the way. What are those mistakes?
About 16 or 17 years ago, I had an affair on Jan. And another one about over 20 years ago when we were first married.
You don't trust him, right?
No.
You say that he's just impossible to live with in the way he treats you and the children. What happens?
He gets mad at the kids over simple things, like taking out the garbage.
You're not wanting a divorce because he wants the kids to take out the garbage and criticizes the timeliness with which they do it. You say that he is emotionally and verbally abusive.
To my kids, yes.
And to
And
you?
to me, yeah. I did 20 years of trying to save my marriage. The last 5 years, after I was pretty sure he had another affair, I lived for my kids because I couldn't afford to leave.
Yeah. You say he gets sorry and changes, but as soon as he's comfortable, he reverts right back.
Yeah, right now he's slowly going back to where we were before.
So what do you say about this? She says you're emotionally and verbally abusive, and that then you get sorry and you apologize, but then when you get comfortable, you revert right back, and that you've done this time and time and time again.
I'm going to have to disagree with that. I only found out 5 years ago that we had a problem for 20 years.
We had 2 affairs in there. That wasn't a clue that you had a problem?
Yeah. So,
What do you mean you didn't know that you had a problem?
Well, I knew I'd lost the trust with that, but I had worked on many, many things after having those affairs.
So you have no idea why she says she's done and wants a divorce. You don't own any of the problems at all?
I own a lot of the problems, but I feel that I have been the one that have been working on it. 5 years ago is when I really started to want to make the change, to become a better person, a better father, and a better husband. And it seems to me, as soon as I made that change to try to be a better person, is when all of this really started coming back at me. The harder I try, the farther I get pushed back.
Well, you know, she won't say it to you. I guess she's intimidated in front of you. I don't know. What she has said to us is that you yell and scream at the kids, you do it in front of their friends, you humiliate them in front of their friends to the point that their friends don't want to come over, they don't want to bring their friends over, that you disregard her opinions, you tell her she's stupid because she's just a stay-at-home mom, doesn't get it, and that you grind these people down. I'm just telling you, is that what you've told us?
Yeah. My biggest thing is, why did it take him 20 years before he finally decided to try? On my 40th birthday, he took me to dinner. He told me that this girl that he knew texted him that she wasn't wearing any underwear. That same time, he went and got, after 20 years of marriage, went and got a checking account of his own.
Dr. Phil, the reason I told Jan that was purely out of, wow, look what this girl did. I didn't want her seeing this on her own.
He also talked her out of getting married.
This is a girl that I got to know. She was 18 or 19 years old. On the verge of getting married, my comment was, wow, this guy really sounds like a jerk. I told Jan, I told him that. But Jan is very, very aware of 2 of our neighbors' divorce and their sex life. She's made it her point to try to set up another guy on a date.
But that's not the point, is it? The point is you've had 2 affairs, and then you get this kind of email, and she says that you spent 20 years abusing these people, and she's had enough of it.
I don't see the abuse. I really, honestly, and if you can help me see that, that would be great.
Okay. All right, we're going to take a break. The second question you need to ask yourself is from a legal standpoint, but I'm going to get to that later in the show. So I'm going to save that, and I'm going to get Ariva, because I want to stay with these emotional issues here. I think Jan and Randy may have answered question 3 in a way that I'm not going to be comfortable with. If any of you out there are considering a divorce, you definitely want to pay attention to this next one. We'll be right back. The statistics don't lie. 50% of I do's end in divorce. But the question is, how do you decide if the decision to end your marriage is right or wrong? I've got to tell you, emotional abuse, verbal abuse, physical abuse, those things, in my opinion, are deal breakers. I can certainly understand how this has accumulated on you if that's been your experience of this relationship. Now, you say that you didn't do that, and so you say you're finally just done.
Yeah.
The third question to the test for are you ready for a divorce is, are you ready to adopt a new standard of conduct with your children? Now, you answered that how?
No.
And you answered it how?
Yes.
Okay. And you answer it no because?
I'm not ready to become a single father and to treat them like I'm the part-time father, I'm the father on the weekends type.
I am very, very concerned about what both of you are doing with these children inside the marriage.
Randy is a very intimidating person. He makes parenting decisions without me. Randy makes the kids feel inadequate. He yells a lot. He called my son that has ADHD stupid. My daughter, Lacey, doesn't like to be around Randy. They don't really have a relationship. She acknowledges that Randy's her dad, but that's about it. Randy embarrasses the kids in front of their friends. A lot of them are afraid of Randy. I can't stand the way he treats my kids. He makes the kids miserable.
She undermines my authority with the kids. I think that Jan lets them get away with a lot more than they should. She's more concerned about losing her relationship with them than actually teaching them how to act and behave. Jan tells me that I'm mean to the kids. Unless somebody could prove me wrong, I haven't been that mean. Jan sleeps in the room with the kids. I do know the kids need their mom, but there are times when I know she's doing it to avoid me. It's painful. I want to elaborate on something that Jan had mentioned. When my kids left home, they were 18 and 19. And my rules, they left home were because, hey, we have yard work to do on Saturdays. Please don't bring friends home after midnight. This was not abusive. This was a father trying to raise his children. Yes, there were times when I was mean to them, but Jan is very sensitive on how I raise these kids. And Jan has told me many times, my father raised me that way. I'm not going to raise my kids to hate work. They can do what they want. My father made me do the chores. I'm not going to make them grow up doing chores. We do have a big mix-up on how we raise them, but my intentions are very well.
Let's take a look at what's going on with the kids.
Jan badmouths me all the time to the kids. I was driving down the road with them one day, and Braden looks at me and says, "Dad, did you really have 2 affairs on Mom?" I said, "Yeah, I did, bud." And I explained it to him the best I could to a little kid. And when I got home, I asked Jan, I said, "Why would you tell your kids that?" And Jan's response was, "Randy, your kids think you're a god. I had to tell them how you really are."
Randy tries to make the kids feel sorry for him by playing the victim. He tries to put the kids against me. Randy tells our 11-year-old Braden about all of our problems. He will tell my son that I don't love him. He uses Braden as his personal counselor, and that's just too much weight for a little kid to handle.
Okay. Are you guys using these kids as sounding boards, as...
Randy does. Because we separated about 6 to 8 months ago, and he wanted me to leave the house. And I just flat out said no. I don't have anywhere to go. I have no family. I have no friends. I have nowhere to go. And through this whole thing, he left, and he used Braden as his counselor. He would cry. He would tell him how he was feeling inside. That's too much emotion. Too much emotion.
Is that true?
When it first happened, I did talk to Braden a lot, as did Jan. Yeah, I am guilty of doing that, but I don't anymore. I did for a very short time.
And you do it with your daughter?
I talk to my daughter because I don't have anybody to talk to.
But you guys are saying yes, but. I asked you to do it. Yes, but. Yes, but. You don't involve children in adult issues.
Lacey's old enough to make her own analysis on all of the things that have happened.
She's 18.
Exactly, and she's been in the middle of a lot of these fights lately.
Is it wrong to involve her in y'all's marital discord?
Yeah, it's wrong. The only thing that I have talked to her about is when her boyfriend, that she'd only known for a few weeks, was in our home. Randy comes in and asks him to leave. We get in a huge fight, and he goes into detail about sexual things in front of my 11-year-old. And I'm saying, stop. Just stop. The kids are here. I don't care. I've had to lock myself in the bathroom to get away because he wants to fight now and he wants it out. That same night, he took my keys, my daughter's keys, and he hid them so we couldn't leave. So we all went down in her bedroom, locked the door to go to sleep.
What do you say about that?
First off, I didn't take the keys. Secondly, the night that this happened...
Okay, wait a second. Let me just stop right now. Okay. Somebody's lying. Come on. I mean, listen. We can't resolve something if you don't tell me what's going on. Now, did you or did you not take the keys?
I did not take the keys.
You didn't hide the keys?
I didn't hide.
So
I had them, and then I put them back on the counter. And when she asked where they were... Okay, let me say it. When she asked where they were, I said, they're right there. I had them in my hand 30 seconds, and then I put them back down. They just weren't in the normal spot 3 feet over where they normally were.
There must be somebody standing behind me because you can't be telling that to me. Now, you can't be that distorted in your views. You can be right in the moment, but you are going to lose this issue if you don't tell me what's going on. You have no insight, no ownership in this at all. It's just, you did have 2 affairs a long, long time ago. You're past that. You're just a nice guy trying to raise kids to be responsible adults. That's your story.
That's part of it.
So she has absolutely no reason to be critical of you at all.
The only reason that we are at this point getting help, I feel, is because of me. I'm the one that approached Jan. I found out through a neighbor that I was having this affair that I did not have. This night that we were talking about, any father would have done what I did. You should have heard what I heard about her boyfriend. I asked him to leave. Jan said, no, you leave. That's why I started yelling what I heard. I don't know how to answer this.
Well, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to hear what the twins and Lacey have to say about how their parents' behavior is affecting them. Maybe it will provide some insight to what you're doing at home, to what you guys are doing at home. We'll be right back. Breaking your wedding vows and deciding to get a divorce is a huge decision. Now today, I'm giving the 5 questions you need to ask yourself to find out if you're truly ready for a divorce. Now Randy and Jan asked that we talk to their 11-year-old twin boys and find out how all of this is affecting them. Let's take a look at that first.
When I hear the fighting, I feel scared and I cry a lot. Then my mom will usually come sleep in my bed and my dad will sleep in another bed. I cry with her, even though I don't know why she's crying, because I feel bad for her.
I feel like that I've done something bad. I feel like my breath got taken away, and then I start crying, and then it just scares me really bad.
I'm excited for my parents to go on Dr. Phil so they can get help, stop fighting, and then we can become a family.
Mom and Dad, I wish that you don't get a divorce because I love you guys very, very much.
I don't want you guys to get separated, so I don't want to have 2 different moms or dads. I don't want to go to 2 different places. I love you guys.
What do y'all think about what you just heard?
I know how they feel.
It breaks my heart that they're going through that.
I just want to do what's best for my kids. And if this is an unhealthy environment, I want to do what's best. I want to be happy. And I haven't been happy for a long time. I feel like my heart's been put through a meat grinder, stuck back in me, and then I'm just supposed to survive and put all the pieces back together. I can't. Emotionally, I can't.
What do you say to that?
I'm sorry, Jan, but Dr. Phil, I've tried to make up for this. I know I went wrong, and I'm trying to make this better, but I keep running into a brick wall. Jan will say that she doesn't know how to heal, but Jan won't get help. Jan,
You say you know you've done wrong. What did you do wrong?
I had the affairs.
Okay, besides that.
I had the affairs. I've yelled at the children. I have not abused my kids. Okay, yelling is a form of habit. Jan yells too. Jan yells too. It's an equal.
This isn't about her right now.
Okay,
This is every time I try to ask you a question, you give me a short response followed by a but and a long justification. If you have any hope of turning this around, you're going to have to drop but from your vocabulary. You're going to have to stop deflecting everything on somebody else. Listen, you may not like what I'm telling you. You may not like what I'm telling you, and when this is all over, you may not like me. But I'll guarantee you what I'm going to do. I'm going to tell you the truth, whether you like it or not. I'm going to tell you the truth as I see it. You don't get it. You don't get her point of view. Jan and Randy's 18-year-old daughter, Lacey, says she's tired of seeing her mom upset. Says she understands why her mom wants to leave her father. I think you've earned the right to say what you think in this situation. What do you want to say?
Well, I want to live in a house where there's no tension anymore. There's just always fighting between these guys or with the rest of the family, and I'm just done with the tension. And I don't like not so much me, because I'm old enough to understand what's going on, but for my little brothers, when they don't know what to do. They don't know how to react. Growing up, I've always been afraid of marriage because this is what I thought it's like.
Right. Because of what you've seen.
See, and that just kills me. I've hurt my kids. Mm-hmm. It just breaks my heart. I don't want them to live like this anymore because I know there's hell around the corner. As soon as my boys turn teens, my house is a nightmare. And I can't do it anymore. I won't do it anymore. But I don't have the money. I don't have anywhere to go. I couldn't make my house payment. I know that might sound like excuses, but I have to be able to provide.
Lacey, you said that you cry in your room at night because you feel a responsibility to help your mother leave your father. Tell me about that.
I think about it every day. Like, when they do get separated, I know I'm going to have to help my mom, and I'm going to have to help her provide for my little brothers. If we move out together, I'm willing to pay the house payment, whatever I need to do. Get another job.
Do you trust your father's sentiments here that he wants to do the right thing?
I don't know. He just needs to take the blame sometimes that he is in the wrong.
What do you say to that?
There's a lot more to this situation than what's being brought up. What do you do? There's so much frustration that my frustration turns to anger.
It doesn't make it okay.
I know.
You say there's a lot more to this than is coming out. We can talk about every detail in the world, but if you're so right, how can all of this be going so wrong?
I don't know.
You can't change what you don't acknowledge. And that's what I'm trying to get across to both of y'all. Lacey, you are an impressive young woman. I hope that maturity has not come at the cost of robbing you of your childhood and the freedom that comes from being the age you are, because you'll only be there once. And I'm really going to try and help both of your parents here. And I'd like to take some of that burden from you, because at 18, you don't need to be figuring out how to make your mother's house payment. They're going to take you out of the middle if it kills me. Okay? Next, one of the biggest challenges you need to prepare for before you even file for divorce, and how Randy and Jan aren't even close to agreeing on all of this. And we're going to talk about why being angry and hurt and emotional are all reasons that a person should not get divorced. We'll be right back. I'm here with Randy and Jan. They've been married 25 years. They have 4 children between them. Jan says she wants to get a divorce. She said she can't take it anymore, while Randy wants to work on repairing their marriage. The next question that you need to ask yourselves in order to know if you're ready is, do you have unfinished emotional business? And you have a lot of unfinished emotional business, don't you?
Yeah, I do.
You have unfinished emotional business. So you both agree you have unfinished emotional business.
Yes.
All right. You're not ready to get a divorce on many different levels because you have unfinished emotional business. The time when you're ready for a divorce is when you have the clearest of conscience. I am at peace about my decision. I'm at peace about myself. I'm at peace about going through the next phase of my life. And right now, you don't have that, correct?
Correct. Correct.
You're
Yeah.
scared and you feel like you're damaged.
Yep.
But the problem is, this is one of the people that's scaring you, and this is where you think the damage is coming from.
Mostly, yeah. Because I have been out of love with him for so long. I have this wall around my emotions and my heart because I'm not going to get hurt again.
So what do you plan to do?
I plan to work harder on these things that I've heard. I need to seek more help on how to not do these things that keep hurting Jan and the kids.
You get that they question whether you really are sorry or whether you just think they don't understand you. It's their problems that are causing you to have to be frustrated and have to resort to anger. That's pretty much how they hear you. Is that pretty accurate?
Yeah.
If you would be better wife and children, then I wouldn't have to be that way, so it's your fault that I do that. I'm not saying it's true, I'm just saying that's how it appears to me that they're viewing you, and therefore, all of this, gee, I'm sorry, they don't really hear that.
I agree with what you just said.
But that's how you feel, isn't it?
It is how I feel. But I don't know where to begin. I mean, it's equal years of frustration that has caused me to, without support, I don't know. I don't know how to answer that. I'm sorry.
Well, you just did answer it. You said, you're right, because it's these years of frustration that have backed me into this corner. If she would just straighten up, you'd be fine.
Well, because he tells me.
Right? No, seriously. Seriously, if she would just straighten up, you would have no trigger, and then y'all could just ride off into the sunset and be happily ever after, right?
I feel that way, yeah.
So all you got to do is straighten up, and he'll be fine.
Yeah. I feel smothered, so why should I try? Because he does it for both of us. And that's the same thing with compliments. Why don't you ever give me a compliment? Well, because you give yourself enough that I don't need to. There's a lot of things that he overdoes and doesn't allow us to grow as a person or grow as a couple because he does it all.
So why haven't you left?
Because I don't have the money. I've been a stay-at-home mom. My daughter makes more money than I do. I have to be able to provide for me, and I have to be able to provide some for my kids.
That leads to the question I saved about the legal, financial, practical issues that you need to ask yourself to find out if you are ready for divorce. We're going to talk about that after the break.
I'm scared. I'm scared for my kids because I don't have the means to provide for them on my own. I have no friends and nowhere to go.
Now, I told you at the top of the show that I was going to answer the second question later in the show. And the second question you need to ask yourself is, have you researched, planned, and prepared yourself legally for divorce? How'd you answer that?
I said no.
No. No. Because you don't want a divorce, so you're not even thinking about it, right? And you haven't. Why? You don't know what to do?
I don't know what to do.
You don't know where to begin?
Exactly.
Well, Ariva Martin is here, and Ariva, there are a lot of things that you need to do to protect yourself before you file, right?
Absolutely, Dr. Phil. A couple of things that are happening here. Jan assumes that she isn't ready, that she doesn't have money, that she can't support the kids. Half of everything that your husband has, it's yours. So the money that he's making, that's yours. He can't throw you out of the house. You have as much a right to that house as he does. So there's alimony, there's child support. There are ways that you can support yourself that doesn't involve getting your 18-year-old daughter involved. So that's the first thing people have to realize is that you have some rights in a divorce.
If you decide that you want to get a divorce, then what Ariva's telling you is that you don't want to be cowering as a victim, that you need to empower yourself. Yes. I don't want to empower women to attack and sabotage men.
You just want them to be ready.
fact, let's just skip this segment.
No, this is when it gets good. We have to do this
what I do
part.
want to do is talk about how women can protect themselves. And I'm not even saying that you need to protect yourself from Randy. I put together a graphic of the things that we've talked about. Number one is consider the timing. Give me a sentence about what you mean by that, Ariva.
Randy may be getting a big bonus. We want to file this divorce to make sure that you're going to get some of that bonus. So what is the timing of what's happening financially in your household?
Okay, and this isn't just necessarily for you. We're talking about for all women here.
Absolutely.
And next, we've got track down all the assets. You need to know what's what, right?
And you need to know where they are. We heard about a new bank account. Do you know what's in that bank account? Because again, that's marital assets that you would be entitled to.
You need to copy all documents, know what you have there. You need to stash some cash because you may need to have an emergency
Rent an
fund.
apartment. You may need to pay your own car note. And again, half of the money that's in your household is yours.
All right, you're going to need to consult with at least 3 attorneys. You think that's very important to talk to some different people.
Yes.
To negotiate, you're going to need to negotiate some type of temporary support.
Temporary support that can tide her over while the legal proceeding is occurring, and you know finally what you're going to get in terms of any kind of child support or spousal support.
And you need to make yourself indispensable. You need to be on as many different accounts and issues, things that you can be involved in, right?
Absolutely. I want you involved in every financial decision that's happening in your household.
You want to document any kind of abuse because it may be important, and you want to keep the kids out of it. We've talked about that. And you don't want to fall for the hype. What do you mean? What do you see, Ariva, as a lawyer?
The hype that you're not going to get any money, I'm going to throw you out the house, I'm taking the kids. And again, I don't know if that's happening in this situation, but that happens often, that women feel so beaten down because they've been told over and over again, I'm going to crush you. You're getting nothing. And the law isn't set up that way. You've worked as hard, even though you've worked in the home, your contribution to this marriage is as important as the spouse that's been out working on a job. So you have to remember that. And that's half of everything your husband has earned, you get as well.
Okay, now, again, I'm telling you this, I'm telling everybody at home this, not because I want you to become a predator, but I want you to protect yourself and know that you are not powerless here. Now, did you learn some things from what we just talked about?
Yeah, but when when you're this close to bankruptcy,
I totally get that. There are economic realities that you have to acknowledge. You are not powerless. You need to know that, and you need to learn, and I'm going to give you a lot of information about every one of these things, and Ariva can talk with you about this and answer any questions that you may have. Here's the question. Does this couple have divorce in the future? What do I think about that? I'm going to answer that very, very clearly when we come back. Today we've been discussing the 5 questions you need to ask yourself to see if you're really ready for divorce before you make that final decision to part ways. I'm going to tell you what I think about your situation. You need to stand up for yourself here. You need to stand up. You say you're living for your children, that they're your most important thing. You need to ask yourself what kind of role model you're providing for them. You need to make a commitment to get yourself healed. You have to decide that you are entitled to be healthy and happy. Hold on to that thought. Okay? Randy, one of the things that we always talk about in psychology is insight. How much insight someone has. And nobody has perfect insight because it's kind of like trying to look at your own face without a mirror. It's hard to see yourself the way other people do. I think you've got a definite lack of insight here. I don't know. I got the feeling that maybe when I described how these folks saw you, that a little glimmer of acknowledgement came on.
There was a slap in the face.
Yeah. Look, I don't want to see your marriage go down the tubes. I don't. I value marriage. You got to decide whether you want to be right or you want to be happy. Because you're right now. You can justify everything that you are accused of doing. You are the first perfect husband on the face of this earth to hear you tell it. Because no, seriously. And that's what I mean about a lack of insight. They've been taking your inventory pretty hard, haven't they? But the truth of the matter is you've mismanaged your emotions. You've mismanaged your relationships. You've mismanaged your role significantly. and that has to change. And if it changes, then there is a possibility that this situation could heal. But without insight, with all those buts in your sentences, with all of those justifications, you will never, ever move this forward, and you will be divorced within the year. I mean, people get to a point where they'd rather live in a box under a bridge than be abused. And I'm not saying that you've abused her or them. I'm saying that's the way they see it. So you've got to be willing to change that. Now, what I'm going to tell you guys is that is this marriage beat up? Yes, it is. Are you closed off to him? Yes, you are. That's been a defensive thing on your part. But I'm going to tell you, I don't think you're ready for divorce. You have too much unfinished emotional business. Because if you left now, you would leave damaged, wouldn't you?
Oh, yeah.
And that is no way to start a new life.
Yeah.
I want to make some resources available to you to work on you.
Okay.
I want to make some resources available to you to work on you as a husband, to become the kind of husband and father that I know you can be. Then I want to make some resources available for you two to come together and try to negotiate a step at a time, a safe way to proceed in this marriage.
Okay.
Are you willing to do that?
Yes.
Are you willing to?
Very willing.
Listen, I know that I'm being hard on you here, but I'm telling you that if I can tell you what you want to hear and you'll be divorced in a year. I'm telling you what you need to hear to have a chance to keep your family together. I'm telling you this, father to father, husband to husband. Will you hear me?
Yes.
Will you do what I'm asking you to do?
Oh, yeah. Yes.
Honestly, this case is one of those situations where nobody really wins, and that's what makes it so heavy to watch. You've got a 25-year marriage filled with betrayal, unresolved pain, and two completely different realities. Jan feels emotionally drained, disrespected, and stuck, especially after years of affairs and what she describes as verbal abuse. Meanwhile, Randy genuinely believes he's trying, but the biggest issue? He just doesn't fully see the damage he's caused. The turning point for me was the kids. Hearing those 11-year-olds talk about crying, feeling scared, and blaming themselves, that's not just marital conflict anymore, that's emotional fallout. And when your own daughter says she's afraid of marriage because of what she's seen at home, that hits hard. What really stands out is the lack of accountability. Every time Randy admits something, there's a but right after it. And that's exactly why nothing is healing. You can't fix what you refuse to fully own. At the same time, Jan isn't in a place of peace either. She's hurt, scared, and financially trapped. That's not readiness for divorce. That's survival mode. So the real question is, if you were in this situation, would you stay and try to rebuild, or walk away to protect your peace? If you found this case as shocking as I did, make sure to hit that like button. Drop your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more real courtroom breakdowns.